The Clear Waters of Mindful Lake, an extended bedtime story. In a lush green valley, nestled between rolling hills and ancient forests, there lay a serene body of water known as Mindful Lake. The lake was renowned throughout the land for its crystal-clear waters, which seemed to sparkle with an inner light. People traveled from far and wide to sit by its shores, gaze into its depths, and find a sense of peace and clarity that eluded them in their busy lives. At the edge of Mindful Lake lived a wise old turtle named Sensei. His shell was etched with intricate patterns, each line and swirl telling a story of the countless years he had spent observing the lake and its visitors. Sensei's eyes, deep and knowing, held within them the reflection of countless sunrises and sunsets witnessed on these shores. He understood the true nature of the lake's magical waters, and many sought his counsel, hoping to unlock the secrets of the lake and find lasting clarity in their own minds. Lily's arrival. One warm summer evening, as the sun began to set and cast a golden glow across the water, a young girl named Lily arrived at the lake's edge. Her brow was furrowed with worry, and her shoulders sagged under the weight of her troubled thoughts. Lily's bright eyes, usually full of curiosity and wonder, were clouded with confusion and anxiety. Her once bouncy steps had become slow and hesitant, as if each movement required great effort. Lily had heard stories of Mindful Lake's restorative powers from her grandmother, who had visited the lake in her youth. The tales of people finding peace and clarity by its shores had seemed like mere fairy tales to Lily, until the chaos in her own mind became too much to bear. Now, standing at the edge of the legendary lake, she felt a mixture of hope and skepticism. As Lily approached the water, her eyes were drawn to a smooth, flat rock nearby. There, basking in the warm glow of the setting sun, sat Sensei. The old turtle's eyes twinkled with kindness as he regarded the troubled young girl, recognizing in her the same searching look he had seen in countless visitors over the years. "Welcome, young one," Sensei said in a gentle voice that seemed to carry the wisdom of ages. "What brings you to the shores of Mindful Lake this evening?" Lily sighed heavily and plopped down on the soft grass beside Sensei's rock. The weight of her worries seemed to press her into the earth, and she found herself grateful for the solid ground beneath her. "Oh, wise turtle," she began, her voice quivering slightly. "I've come because my mind is in turmoil. It feels like a storm is raging inside my head, with thoughts and worries crashing against each other like waves in a tempest. I can't seem to find peace or clarity no matter how hard I try." Lily paused, running her fingers through the cool grass as she gathered her thoughts. "At school, I can't concentrate on my lessons because I'm worried about making mistakes. At home, I lie awake at night, my mind racing with all the things I need to do. Even when I'm with my friends, I can't fully enjoy our time together because I'm constantly thinking about what they might think of me." She looked up at Sensei, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. "I've heard that Mindful Lake has the power to calm even the most troubled minds. Can you teach me its secrets? I'm willing to do anything to find some peace." Sensei nodded slowly, a small smile playing at the corners of his mouth. His ancient eyes held a depth of compassion that made Lily feel truly seen for the first time in a long while. "Ah, yes," he said softly. "Many come to Mindful Lake seeking what you seek, Lily. The desire for peace and clarity is as old as time itself. But before I share the lake's wisdom with you, tell me, what do you see when you look at its waters?" The first lesson. Lily turned her gaze to the lake, really taking it in for the first time since her arrival. The surface was like a mirror, perfectly reflecting the pink and orange hues of the sunset sky. The surrounding trees stood as silent sentinels, their leaves barely rustling in the gentle evening breeze. "I see stillness," she said after a moment of contemplation. "The water is so calm and clear. It is beautiful and peaceful. It's like the lake doesn't have a single worry in the world." "Indeed it is," Sensei agreed, his voice warm with approval. "Now watch closely." As if on cue, a fish leaped from the water, creating a splash that sent ripples cascading across the lake's surface. The perfect reflection was momentarily distorted, transforming into a kaleidoscope of shimmering colors. "What do you see now?" Sensei asked, his eyes fixed on Lily's face. Lily frowned, a hint of disappointment in her voice. "The water is disturbed. The reflection isn't clear anymore. It's chaotic." Sensei nodded, unsurprised by her response. "Yes, but watch a little longer." Lily continued to observe the lake, her eyes tracking the ripples as they spread outward. Gradually, almost imperceptibly at first, the ripples began to subside. The water's surface slowly returned to its previous state of glassy calm. Once again, the sky was perfectly reflected in its depths, as if the disturbance had never occurred. "You see, Lily," Sensei began, his voice taking on a teaching tone, "Mindful Lake teaches us an important lesson about the nature of our minds. Just as the lake's natural state is one of clarity and stillness, so too is the natural state of our minds. The lake doesn't struggle to become clear. It simply allows the disturbances to settle on their own." Lily's eyes widened with understanding, a spark of hope igniting within her. "So, you're saying that my mind can become clear like the lake? But how? I feel like my thoughts are always churning, creating ripples and waves that never stop. It's like there's a storm inside my head that won't calm down." Sensei chuckled softly, the sound reminiscent of pebbles gently tumbling in a stream. "Ah, that's where many people misunderstand. They believe they must force their minds to be still, but that only creates more disturbance. Imagine if you tried to calm the lake's ripples by slapping at the water with your hands. You'd only create more chaos, wouldn't you?" Lily nodded, the image bringing a small smile to her face despite her worries. "The secret of Mindful Lake is not in doing, but in allowing," Sensei continued. "It's about trusting in the mind's natural ability to return to a state of calm and clarity, just as the lake naturally returns to stillness." As the last rays of sunlight dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in deep purples and blues, Sensei began to share more of the wisdom of Mindful Lake with Lily. He spoke of the mind's natural capacity for clarity and the importance of trusting in its innate ability to return to a state of peace. "Close your eyes, Lily," Sensei instructed gently. "Imagine that your mind is like Mindful Lake. Picture its calm, clear waters stretching out before you." Lily closed her eyes, at first seeing only the darkness behind her eyelids. But as she focused, an image of the lake began to form in her mind's eye. She saw its tranquil surface, mirroring a calm blue sky. "Now," Sensei continued, his voice soothing and rhythmic, "thoughts may come, like pebbles dropping into the lake, creating ripples on its surface. This is natural. But instead of trying to stop the pebbles or smooth out the ripples, simply observe them. Watch as they naturally dissipate, allowing the lake to return to its clear state." As Lily sat with her eyes closed, focusing on her breath and the image of the lake in her mind, she began to notice her thoughts. There were so many of them, rushing in like a flood: worries about school, concerns about friendships, anxieties about the future. Each thought seemed to create a ripple in her mental lake. At first, Lily felt the familiar urge to push these thoughts away, to try and force her mind to be quiet. But she remembered Sensei's words and instead chose to simply observe. She watched as each thought ripple spread out across her mental lake, and to her surprise, she noticed that without her interference, the ripples began to fade on their own. As she continued this practice, Lily began to feel a sense of calm washing over her. The worries and anxieties that had been plaguing her seemed to lose their grip, like leaves floating away on a gentle current. She found herself becoming more aware of her surroundings, the soft grass beneath her, the cool evening air on her skin, the gentle lapping of the real lake nearby. Sensei's soothing voice continued to guide her. Remember, Lily, clarity is not something you do. It's something you allow. Your mind, like mindful lake, has its own self-clearing function. Trust in this natural process. Deepening understanding. As the night deepened and stars began to twinkle overhead, Sensei shared more of the lake's wisdom with Lily. He spoke of the importance of presence, of being fully engaged in the moment rather than getting lost in thoughts of the past or future. Mindful lake exists only in the present, Sensei explained, gesturing to the water before them. It doesn't worry about the storms that may come tomorrow or dwell on the disturbances of yesterday. It simply is moment by moment. This is the key to clarity. Lily nodded, her eyes still closed, absorbing the turtle's words. She could feel a shift happening within her, a gentle awakening to a new way of understanding her mind. Sensei continued, his voice taking on a tone of gentle instruction. Many people believe that clarity comes from adding something to their minds, new techniques, positive thoughts, or special mantras. But true clarity comes from subtraction, from allowing the unnecessary thoughts and worries to settle, revealing the pristine awareness that was always there beneath the surface. As Lily listened, she became aware of the sounds around her, the gentle lapping of water at the lake's edge, the rustle of leaves in the night breeze, the chirping of crickets. She realized that she had been so caught up in her thoughts that she had been missing the simple beauty of the present moment. "Open your eyes, Lily," Sensei said softly. Lily blinked her eyes open, taking in the moonlit scene before her. The lake seemed to glow with an ethereal light, its surface a perfect mirror of the star-studded sky above. The world around her seemed sharper, more vivid than before, as if she were seeing it for the first time. "What do you notice?" Sensei asked, his eyes twinkling in the starlight. Lily took a deep breath, feeling more centered than she had in a long time. "Everything seems clearer," she said, a note of wonder in her voice. "It's like I'm seeing the world with new eyes. The colors are brighter, the sounds are crisper. Even the air feels different somehow." Sensei nodded approvingly. "That's the gift of clarity, Lily. When our minds are clear, we see things as they truly are, without the distortion of our busy thoughts and worries. We become fully present in the moment, able to appreciate the beauty and wonder that surrounds us always." The wisdom of the lake. As the night wore on, Sensei shared more stories and teachings inspired by Mindful Lake. He spoke of resilience, likening it to the lake's ability to absorb disturbances and return to clarity. "Look at the lake, Lily," he said, pointing a weathered flipper towards the water. "No matter what happens on its surface, be it a leaping fish, a tossed stone, or even a raging storm, the lake always returns to calmness. Your mind has this same resilience. No matter how turbulent your thoughts may become, Your innate clarity is always there, waiting to reemerge. Sensei then turned to the topic of creativity and intuition, explaining how they naturally arise from a clear mind, just as the lake's depths reveal hidden treasures when its waters are undisturbed. When your mind is cluttered with worries and distractions, he explained, it's like the lake's surface being constantly disturbed. You can't see clearly into its depths. But when you allow your mind to settle into its natural state of clarity, suddenly you have access to deeper wisdom and creative insights. Lily listened intently, feeling as though each word was a drop of wisdom seeping into her being. She began to understand that the peace and clarity she sought were not things to be achieved through effort, but rather innate qualities waiting to be uncovered. But Sensei, Lily asked, a note of concern in her voice, what about when really big problems come? Surely there are some disturbances too big for the lake to handle. Sensei smiled gently at her question. An excellent inquiry, Lily. It's true that life will sometimes present us with great challenges. But consider this, even in the fiercest storm, the depths of the lake remain undisturbed. The surface may be chaotic, but beneath, there is stillness. He paused, allowing Lily to contemplate this image. In the same way, he continued, no matter how turbulent your thoughts and emotions may become, there is a part of you, your essential awareness, that remains untouched, like the depths of the lake. By learning to connect with this inner stillness, you can weather any storm life brings your way. A week of practice. As the first light of dawn began to paint the eastern sky, Sensei turned to Lily with a twinkle in his eye. Now, young one, I have a challenge for you. For the next 7 days, I want you to visit Mindful Lake each morning and each evening. Sit quietly by its shores and observe. Don't try to force your mind to be still or clear. Simply watch the lake and allow its lessons to sink in. Lily nodded eagerly, excited to put her new understanding into practice. I will, Sensei. Thank you for sharing the lake's wisdom with me. But what exactly should I do when I'm here? Should I try to meditate or something? Sensei chuckled softly. There's no need to do anything, Lily. Simply be here with the lake. Watch how it changes throughout the day, how it responds to different conditions. Let it teach you about the nature of your own mind. Over the next week, Lily faithfully visited Mindful Lake twice each day. In the mornings, she watched as the mist rose from its surface, gradually revealing the clear waters beneath. She noticed how this mirrored her own mind upon waking, often foggy at first, but gradually clearing as she allowed herself to simply be present. In the evenings, she observed as the setting sun painted the sky in brilliant colors, all perfectly reflected in the lake's mirror-like surface. She learned to appreciate the ever-changing beauty of the present moment, recognizing that each sunset was unique and fleeting, just like her own thoughts and emotions. One morning, a sudden rainstorm swept across the lake. Lily watched in fascination as the raindrops pattered against the water's surface, creating countless tiny ripples. Yet even in the midst of this disturbance, she could see the underlying calm of the deeper waters. This taught her about finding peace even in life's stormy moments. Another day, she noticed a family of ducks gliding serenely across the lake. Their passage left gentle ripples in their wake, but the lake embraced these movements without resistance. Lily reflected on how she could learn to move through life with similar grace, creating ripples where necessary but without disturbing her inner peace. With each visit, Lily found herself becoming more attuned to the lake's rhythms and more aware of her own inner state. She noticed how her mind, like the lake had periods of disturbance and periods of clarity. But instead of getting frustrated when her thoughts became turbulent, she remembered Sensei's teachings and simply allowed the disturbances to settle on their own. The final lesson. On the morning of the 7th day, Lily arrived at the lake to find Sensei waiting for her. The wise old turtle had a knowing smile on his face as Lily approached, noting the lighter step in her walk and the clearer light in her eyes. "Welcome, Lily," he said warmly. "Tell me, what have you learned from your time with Mindful Lake?" Lily sat down beside Sensei, her eyes bright with newfound understanding. "Oh, Sensei," she began, her voice filled with excitement. "I've learned so much. I've realized that clarity isn't something I need to chase or force. It's always there, like the lake's clear waters, sometimes hidden beneath the surface disturbances but never truly gone." Sensei nodded approvingly, his ancient eyes twinkling with pride. "Go on," he encouraged, sensing there was more Lily wanted to share. "I've also learned the power of allowing," Lily continued, her words flowing with newfound confidence. "Before, when my mind was busy or troubled, I would try to push the thoughts away or distract myself. But now I understand that it's okay to let those thoughts be there. Like the ripples on the lake, they'll settle on their own if I don't interfere." She paused, looking out over the tranquil waters of Mindful Lake. The morning sun was casting a golden glow across its surface, and a gentle breeze created small, dancing ripples. Lily smiled, seeing in this simple scene a reflection of her own inner journey. "Excellent observations, Lily," Sensei said, his voice warm with approval. "You're beginning to understand the true nature of your mind. What else have you noticed?" Lily thought for a moment before responding, her brow furrowed in concentration. "I've realized that I don't need to be afraid of my thoughts or emotions. Even when the lake is stirred up by a storm, its essential nature doesn't change. The clear water is still there, beneath the waves. In the same way, I can trust that my innate clarity and peace are always present, even in challenging times." She turned to look at Sensei, her eyes shining with gratitude. "And I've learned that this clarity isn't just about feeling peaceful. It's about seeing things more clearly, too. When my mind is calm, like the lake on a still day, I can see so much more both in the world around me and inside myself." Sensei beamed with pride, his wrinkled face creasing with joy. "You have learned well, young one. The wisdom of Mindful Lake is now a part of you. But remember, this is just the beginning of your journey. Clarity is not a destination to be reached, but a way of being to be lived." The ripple effect. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting sparkles across the lake's surface, Sensei shared one final teaching with Lily. Just as Mindful Lake reflects the world around it without judgment or attachment, so too can your mind reflect your experiences clearly when it's free from the clutter of unnecessary thinking. This clear reflection allows for greater understanding, compassion, and wisdom in all aspects of your life. Lily nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the lessons she had learned. She knew that her time by Mindful Lake had changed her in profound ways, giving her tools to navigate the complexities of life with greater ease and clarity. "But Sensei," Lily asked, a new thought occurring to her, "how can I keep this clarity when I go back home? Won't I just get caught up in all my worries and problems again?" Sensei smiled gently, as if he had been waiting for this very question. "Ah, Lily, that's where the true practice begins. You see, you don't need to be sitting by Mindful Lake to access its wisdom. The lake is always with you, right here," he said, pointing to her heart. Whenever you feel overwhelmed or lost in thought, you can close your eyes and picture Mindful Lake. Take a few deep breaths and allow your mind to settle, just as you've practiced here. With time and patience, you'll find that you can access this sense of clarity and calm no matter where you are or what's happening around you. Lily closed her eyes, conjuring up the image of Mindful Lake in her mind. To her surprise, she found that she could almost hear the gentle lapping of the water and feel the cool breeze on her skin. A sense of peace washed over her, and when she opened her eyes, the world seemed a little brighter. "I understand," she said softly. "Mindful Lake isn't just a place, is it? It's a way of being, a way of seeing the world." Sensei nodded, his eyes twinkling. "Precisely, young one. And just as a single drop creates ripples across the entire lake, the clarity you cultivate within yourself will spread to all areas of your life. You'll find that you're more patient with others, more creative in your thinking, and better able to handle life's challenges." Returning home, as she prepared to leave, Lily turned to Sensei one last time. "Thank you, wise turtle, for sharing the secrets of Mindful Lake with me. I'll carry these lessons with me always." Sensei smiled warmly. "Remember, Lily, the true magic of Mindful Lake is not in its waters, but in the understanding it awakens within you. Your mind, like the lake, has an innate capacity for clarity and peace. Trust in this, and you will never be lost." With a heart full of newfound wisdom and a mind as clear as the lake's pristine waters, Lily bid farewell to Sensei and Mindful Lake. As she made her way back home, she felt a deep sense of peace and possibility. The path ahead seemed brighter somehow, illuminated by her inner clarity. In the days, weeks, and months that followed, Lily often thought back to her time at Mindful Lake. When she felt overwhelmed or confused, she would close her eyes and picture the lake's calm surface, allowing her mind to settle naturally. She found that this simple practice helped her navigate the challenges of school, friendships, and growing up with greater ease and grace. One day, during a particularly difficult math test, Lily felt panic rising in her chest. The numbers on the page seemed to swim before her eyes, and her mind raced with anxious thoughts. But then she remembered Mindful Lake. She closed her eyes for a moment, took a deep breath, and imagined herself sitting by the lake's tranquil shores. As her mind settled, like ripples fading on the water's surface, she found she could think more clearly. The math problems that had seemed impossible now felt manageable, and she worked through them with a new sense of calm focus. Another time, Lily found herself in the middle of an argument with her best friend. Harsh words were exchanged, and she felt anger bubbling up inside her. But just as she was about to say something she might regret, the image of Mindful Lake flashed in her mind. She paused, took a deep breath, and allowed her emotions to settle. From this place of clarity, she was able to listen to her friend's perspective with more openness and respond with kindness rather than anger. The conflict was resolved, and their friendship grew stronger as a result. Sharing the wisdom. As Lily continued to practice the lessons of Mindful Lake, those around her began to notice a change. Her parents remarked on her newfound patience and calm. Her teachers noted her improved focus and creativity. And her friends found themselves drawn to her peaceful presence, often seeking her advice when they felt troubled. Inspired by the positive changes in her life, Lily began to share the wisdom she had learned with others. She told her younger brother about Mindful Lake when he was struggling with nightmares, teaching him to picture the calm waters as he fell asleep. She introduced her study group to the practice of taking mindful breaks, helping them all to approach their work with greater clarity and less stress. One day, Lily's grandmother, who had first told her about Mindful Lake, came to visit. As they sat in the garden together, Lily's grandmother noticed the change in her granddaughter. "My dear," she said, her eyes twinkling, "there's something different about you. You remind me of Mindful Lake itself, so calm and clear, yet full of life and wisdom." Lily smiled, feeling a rush of gratitude for the journey that had brought her to this point. She began to tell her grandmother about her experiences at the lake and the lessons she had learned from Sensei. As she spoke, she realized that in sharing the wisdom of Mindful Lake, she was not only helping others, but also deepening her own understanding. Her grandmother listened intently, nodding with understanding. When Lily finished her tale, her grandmother took her hand and said, "You've discovered something precious, my dear. The clarity you found is a gift not just for you, but for everyone whose life you touch. Like ripples spreading across Mindful Lake, your inner peace and wisdom will have effects far beyond what you can see." The ongoing journey. As the years passed, Lily continued to grow and change, facing new challenges and experiences. But through it all, the lessons of Mindful Lake remained a constant source of strength and guidance. She discovered that clarity was not a fixed state to be achieved once and for all, but a continuous practice of returning to the present moment, again and again. There were times when the waters of her mind became turbulent during the stress of exams, the heartache of first love, the uncertainty of choosing a career path. But each time, Lily remembered to trust in her mind's natural ability to return to clarity. Like Mindful Lake, she learned to weather the storms of life with grace and resilience, knowing that beneath the surface waves, her essential nature remained calm and clear. As she grew into adulthood, Lily's understanding of Mindful Lake's teachings deepened. She realized that clarity wasn't just about finding personal peace, but about engaging with the world more fully and compassionately. Her clear mind allowed her to see the interconnectedness of all things, to approach problems with creativity and insight, and to empathize more deeply with others. Inspired by her experiences, Lily decided to become a teacher, hoping to share the wisdom of Mindful Lake with future generations. In her classroom, she created a nurturing environment where her students could discover their own innate capacity for clarity and wisdom. She taught them not just academic subjects, but also how to navigate the challenges of life with mindfulness and grace. Returned to Mindful Lake many years later, Lily found herself drawn back to Mindful Lake. As she approached its familiar shores, she felt a sense of coming home. The lake was just as she remembered, its waters clear and calm, reflecting the beauty of the surrounding world. To her surprise and joy, she saw a familiar figure basking on a flat rock near the water's edge. Sensei, the wise old turtle, turned to greet her, his ancient eyes twinkling with recognition. "Welcome back, Lily," he said, his voice as gentle and knowing as ever. "Tell me, what has life taught you since we last met?" Lily sat down beside her old friend, feeling the years fall away. She began to share her experiences, the challenges she had faced, the wisdom she had gained, the lives she had touched. As she spoke, she realized that every step of her journey had been a continuation of the lessons she had learned at Mindful Lake. Sensei listened attentively, nodding with approval. When Lily finished, he smiled and said, "You have done well, Lily. You have not just carried the wisdom of Mindful Lake within you, but you have become a mindful lake for others, a source of clarity, peace, and reflection in an often turbulent world." Lily felt a warmth spread through her at Sensei's words. She looked out over the lake, watching as the setting sun painted the sky and water in brilliant hues of orange and pink. In that moment, she felt a profound sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her here, and for the timeless wisdom that had guided her along the way. As the stars began to twinkle overhead, Lily and Sensei sat in comfortable silence, two old friends united by the timeless teachings of Mindful Lake. The gentle lapping of the water against the shore seemed to whisper ancient secrets, reminding them that the journey to clarity and wisdom is never truly finished, but is renewed with each passing moment. Epilogue, a bedtime reflection. As our tale of Lily and Mindful Lake comes to a close, let us take a moment to reflect on the wisdom we've gained. Close your eyes and imagine yourself sitting beside the tranquil waters of Mindful Lake. Feel the gentle breeze on your skin, hear the soft lapping of water at the shore, and sense the profound stillness that permeates the air. Take a deep breath in, allowing the calm clarity of the lake to fill your being. As you exhale, release any tension or worries you may be holding. With each breath, feel yourself becoming more and more aligned with the natural clarity of your mind. Remember, like Mindful Lake, your mind has an innate capacity for peace and clarity. Trust in this natural ability. When thoughts or emotions create ripples in your consciousness, simply observe them without judgment. Allow them to settle on their own, revealing the clear, reflective surface of your awareness. As you drift off to sleep, carry with you the image of Mindful Lake. Let its serene waters remind you of your own inner calm. Know that no matter what challenges tomorrow may bring, you have within you a wellspring of clarity and wisdom to draw upon. May your dreams be as peaceful as Mindful Lake at dawn, and may you awaken refreshed, your mind as clear and bright as its sparkling waters. Good night and sweet dreams.